fans, and welcome to the final match of the DreamHack Beyond event. I am so super excited to be here with my friend Tetcher and casting Simplicity versus 30K. It's going to be a really exciting match. I hope you guys are just as excited as we are to find out the thrilling conclusion to over a month of awesome Heroes of the Storm action.
Exactly. Before we head too far in, a big shout out to the raids from Baha, the official DreamHack channel, and hello to everyone watching on the DreamHack Beyond website. This is the Heroes Community Clash here at DreamHack Beyond, and we have our two top teams right now, with players from Europe and America all competing to show that they are the superior heroes.
Absolutely. And if I remember, this is a little bit of a rivalry rematch here. Simplicity are going to be taking on 30K.
They've played against each other a couple times, obviously, throughout CCL, the most recent season, but most importantly, Simplicity got knocked down to the lower bracket in the CCL round 1, and so did 30K. So they played their elimination match, the first elimination match of CCL playoffs against each other, and it went 3-2. So Simplicity are the reason that 30K did not get into those finals. Simplicity are the ones who knocked them down. Now it's 30K's time for revenge, because this is probably the last time these teams will face each other for quite a while, until either next DreamHack or CCL Season 3, or if anything else comes along, but the last competitive game these two teams will have for a bit.
Yeah, if I'm 30K, you definitely have a bone to pick with Simplicity, costing them that first place spot potentially. So, yeah, I think there's going to be a lot happening today. However, all the players are friends, and at the end of the day, they're all really nice, really good sports. So I think it's going to be a super fun series. We're just about to get started for you folks. We have a little bit of map information for everybody as... Goodness gracious, where is it? I just had it up.
I have it here. It is
cool,
30K. Simplicity won the coin toss. 30K banned out Braxis and Dragonshire. Simplicity banned out Battlefield and Towers. And Jigsy, where are we heading for game number 1?
All right, we're going to go to Tomb of the Spider Queen. This is our third Tomb game. You guys can actually hear it right here, right now. I wonder how sick they are of going to Tomb, because I believe there was some Tomb plays over on the other side of the bracket that Muhammad was casting. So, yeah, third time here. Simplicity, I believe, has won every single Tomb game so far. So we'll see if they can't keep that stream going alive.
So far, they have actually only dropped one map this entire set, being on a pretty dominant streak in their last two series, or in their last series that we already saw. 30K, on the other hand, they have not dropped a single map, so they are coming into this strong.
Absolutely. You can see here, of course, no one's surprised, Zagara being banned out, as well as Lucio. Dang, and they're just flying through here. Vala going to be banned away as well. I mean, it leaves me curious what Simplicity have in store as Junkrat is going to be banned out. Maybe they're looking to grab it, which is why they banned the Vala. But they're ready to go. They know exactly what they want, as Tychus is picked up here.
I guess solid first pick, great poke from long range. It's very safe as well. The fantastic wave clear rotation on this map is absolutely brilliant when you're just trying to gather those gems. We love it. Malfurion, though, also a very strong hero, and it's Yasuo playing that Malfurion as well. One of the best Malfurions in the world, with that Blaze coming in as well. Nerfed recently has been a bit lower priority in some of the other games, but Liam seeming to want it.
Liam's been doing pretty well on that Blaze from what we've been able to see so far. And, he's actually really been probably one of the most highly contested picks so far. Lots of teams picking him up. Obviously, in our set that we've been following, it was Simplicity looking to grab him most of the time and having a ton of success. Though, based on all of our bans, and as you can see here, Stitches was let through, and this was devastating on that Garden of Terror game. The thing that let Simplicity continue on against 30K Blue.
We'll have to see how prepared 30K are able to do against this compared to their sister team here. See if they're able to do it. Simplicity also showed in their previous series that they're okay playing against the Stitches, so they were happy to let that go for a bit. And with Malfurion already picked up, the odds of us seeing perhaps an Anduin, one of those heroes who could hard counter, and a Nubarak being banned away, Simplicity have this planned out. They're just getting rid of all of the heroes that would really counteract the Stitches from Masquerade.
Curious to see what else they'll look to pick up, if they're going to look for anything that, counter Stitches, albeit hard or soft. May is something that we see a lot, especially if it's going to be a Cord Stitches, which we saw last time it was picked up here. But it's actually going to be a Medivh and a Garrosh. Okay, so very safe with that Medivh to get anybody out who may be hooked or gorged or the like. And then Garrosh. Curious to see how he fits into all this.
Garrosh Portal Engage is terrifying. They have that option there. Garrosh could. Technically, it is possible to pre-cleanse your allies with Into the Fray if you are on just another level of being compared to the rest of us. But yeah, the Garrosh is beefy here. If he gets hooked, it's a solid hero to have hooked because he is made of stones and the dreams of people who lose at heroes. As we see Sylvanas and Yrel to finish out the draft. More very solid damage output from Simplicity, and that offlane gives them a lot of control or disruption that can maybe keep Medivh out of the fight sometimes.
We'll have to see, as we're going to see this last hero pick come in here. It's going to be Jaina from the side of 30k. And I really like the Jaina. I think it does shut down a lot of what Simplicity are trying to do. Anytime, they want to look for somebody, Jaina, of course, can slow them, make it much harder for them to get away. If Yrel is going to be sitting on the back line, then she very well could suffer for it with Water Elemental, with the slows, and with Jaina's recent buffs.
She did get some recent buffs, like you say. She's going to have a very solid amount of damage output. It does probably mean that 30k strategy is not kill Stitches, because they don't exactly have a lot of percentage damage or anything that's going to kill Stitches quickly, but they do have a lot of burst damage for if they can isolate basically anyone else. They have so much lockdown. Once Medivh gets stacked, if Medivh gets stacked, that damage output is going to supplement a lot as well. And they have a lot of sustain, especially once you get to that ice block as well. Even their main assassin is going to have a no button to Stitches.
We'll have to see as we head on into game number 1, our best of 3 series. This is our finals, and I am so super excited, Tetcher, as we head in to our left-hand side. The members of Simplicity with Cure on that Yrel. Sylvanas will be played by Lutano. Legacy is your Brightwing. Hosty will be your Tychus, and Masquerade is rocking that Stitches.
Simplicity looking to take their CCL momentum and run it in further, as on the right-hand side, we are going to see the members of 30k looking for revenge. We have Porky on that Garrosh, Hasuobs on the Medivh. Yasu is playing that Malfurion, Dino on the Jaina, and Liam is going to be bringing out the Blaze. Let's see what they can do as they already take a little bit of an aggressive position. Trying to see if they can set up waves being cleared by Dino. Hasu already getting knocked back by Cure. Able to get the force of will, but he's being chased real deep. Hook through the portal picks up the kill. First blood on Hasuobs.
Oh my goodness, he's not happy about that. Already losing those stacks. There weren't a whole heck of a lot to necessarily lose. Something he can't get back quickly enough. Tychus, though, the friendly hook, though, going to save the day. Porky trying to find him, gonna end up getting the throw onto Masquerade instead this time. Not going to find that counter kill for them, unfortunately.
As such, we still see a small lead here for Simplicity at the start of this game. Let's see how we're able to start off. We have that percentage damage from Sylvanas, and we see Light of Karabor coming in for Cure here. This could lead into the Aldor Peacekeeper later on for some damage reduction, which, if Yrel's able to get onto Jaina, could really shut down the damage output of 30k.
Absolutely, Heroes. We're going to see them both just dueling it out for right now in that bottom lane. Lucano here to help out as much as they can, really trying to put pressure on Blaze. They have the black arrows coming out. Nobody has touched that bottom camp yet, but Liam not willing to go down without a fight. The rest of the team will be here soon, and this might be just a fantastic bait as Yasu is here. They get the heal off. Not looking to find too much blood there. Is Yasu actually going to potentially end up going down if they manage to find the Moonfire on secure and avoid dying?
Yasu able to get a couple stacks. Liam porting back. Yasu also alive, healing themselves up. The sustain of this team is solid if they can just make sure Yorel doesn't get onto their backline. Wave clear coming out from Lutado here. A cure helping out as well. The standard lane setup has just been ignored here, with everyone just sending 5 men all over the map looking for kills in this early stage of the game. Also, Master Assassin again for Tychus.
You know, I think this really shows how Simplicity is feeling about this this matchup here. They're confident they can look for those kills. They're confident they'll be able to carry with this Tychus. And if they're able to do so, then that could be really, really rough for 30k if he's able to get to those 15 heroes.
Have to see. He obviously gets that passive boost like he already said, which is going to be very nice for him. If he can get stacked, it's going to be insane, especially for the Odin at later levels. Hasu's also slowly getting stacked up to 3 stacks now. So he's soon going to have a lot of extra damage available for his team. Porky also going for those for that Warbreaker, getting stacked up to 7 available. Hook onto Malfurion, but no one's in position to follow up this time.
Porky looking for stitches here now. He's a big, thick boy. They're going to end up hitting him with the root. Emerald Dream's coming in. Legacy, though, able to save the day with that cleanse before being slept. Everybody is able to just slowly work on chiseling down that stitches, but of course, then he manages to get away. Hook a swing and a miss, and now Simplicity looking to turn in and find that first Webweaver phase.
Solid positioning here for Simplicity to try and gain momentum, but they're actually going to be zoned a little bit away for the moment. Blind Hook trying to find that early kill as they hit level 7, getting that serrated edge, the quick burst play. And there's a kill onto Sylvanas. First kill available for 30k here, evening up the score a little bit. You could really see how scared they are of these portal engages with that critical miss, that big burst heal cleanse, and the relentless soldier for Tychus. They are very afraid of getting caught out.
One thing they're just going to have to constantly consider is where is Garrosh? Where is Medivh? You know, is the Medivh, when he's in bird form above them, in a position that can really just ruin their day? The hard thing here is that Hasu is just constantly able to keep tabs and call to his team where Masquerade is so they can play safely around those hooks, and that's really hindering their ability to engage.
There is a hook onto Porky, but Porky is Garrosh and tanky. And Sylvanas is traded for Jada. Jada being finished off by that Shadow Dagger from beyond the grave. Porky getting chased down. You can see that slow auto attacks from the stitches is causing so many problems for the very immobile Garrosh. But it is simply a 1-for-1 trade. And finally, oh, he's 1 gem away. But Legacy does get his 4 gems in.
Gonna look for Yasu here. Great Polymorph follow-up. There's again Hasu to save the day. Gets away, drops the protect, and no kill just yet.
Not bad, not bad. Both teams holding it pretty even here, even though Simplicity are being the aggressors this game. 30k are keeping up in all the stats that matter. Structures, experience, gems. They're holding themselves in this game very effectively here. Question is, who's going to be able to get this turn in both teams? Over 40, Hasu is interrupted by Hosty again. Neither of these teams giving an inch. That's a good start to cure, though. There's the root. Brightwing coming in. Doesn't get the cleanse off, but they do stay alive.
Everybody just getting away with that Medivh portal. Porky is back. Liam is in once again, stalling. And I really like what 30k are doing right now. You know, they've got the 40 gems. They've got 52 in the bank, though, so they'll be basically ready to turn in another set of gems after their first turn. This first one will go over to the side of Simplicity. And this is actually a really solid pickup for Simplicity. You can see that they were, kind of just chilling, waiting for that level 10. Now that it's available, they can go ahead and engage. Now there's going to be Jaina going down. Really difficult to see, considering that's a lot of the clear for 30k. So now they're going to have to defend without Jaina for another 15 seconds.
They're going to have some trouble here. They've got that Frost Shards and Ice Flows would have really helped them with this wave clear, but instead they have the fantastic Garrosh wave clear, well known for his AoE abilities. He is getting very zoned out. Hasu trying to help here, and Furion doing the best they can. Blaze is pretty much all their wave clear until Sylvanas gets back, and he's doing the best he can down in bot lane as Jaina will take over mid.
Going to just continue to try and clear this out. They've basically forsaken the top lane, which is an interesting choice, seeing it's still quite heavily pushing and still has quite a bit of health. They're going to try to look for the kills instead here, though. Great polymorph to ensure Lutano doesn't end up getting bopped there. But as it's getting bopped anyway, Porky actually manages to push Garrosh back into that portal so he can get to safety with that hook. But overall, mid lane goes down. Top lane not long for this world either. And really just an insane first turn in from Simplicity, who are very close as well to their own double turn in. May look to do that now and not give 30k the break they need to try and make it back onto the map.
See, they can do it. Good dodge on the hook. You're wrapping around. You can see Yasu just positioning himself miles away from his team. He knows he can make it in range, but 30k aren't getting back on the map if Yasu is getting caught out. So I really love that safe positioning here. Now still poking away, doing the best he can. 30k looking okay. Hook onto Porky, gorging, and they don't have a reaction to this outside of Medivh. You can see Cure trying to get in position to zone away Hasu. Portal comes out, throw from Porky, ley line, tranquility, and Porky is out of there. They even turn to try and get Tychus, but they're unable to finish the job as Odin comes out. Hasu, one more portal, and the team is gone.
Oh, Liam may have sacrificed his life. He's not able to get through the portal. Has to drop the bunker. The hook narrowly missing. But everybody gets out and lives. Red Web Weavers were turned in during that big fight. The problem here is everything is on cooldown now, save Warlord's challenge. So it's going to be quite difficult for Garrosh to come in, look for that engage. If he gets into any kind of trouble from the Stitches, there could be serious repercussions, seeing as everything is down, no defensive tools away. Garrosh has to choose whether or not to use that Warlord challenge for peel or engage. And overall, it doesn't look like they're going to get a whole lot out of this.
Seeing a little bit of focus onto Cure, but he tanks through pretty effectively here. Level 13 is available for both teams. Good taunt onto Yrel on Defender on cooldown. Brightwing coming in the Emerald Dream. And Cure goes down. Legacy barely blink healing to safety. Actually, he's being chased down. Dino is deep. Picks up the kill. Looks for Hosty as well. They're trying to lock him down, and they succeed. 30k, you called it. They found their moment, and they are back in.
Oh my goodness. They are going to have to just pick up a good majority of those gems. He's able to get away. Leyline Seal does not connect. Unfortunate there for Simplicity. They ended up, I feel, losing a little bit more than they needed to. It's at some point you have to feel, you know, it's fine to just lose some of those gems. And granted, 35 is an insane amount to lose. But seeing as we're going to have now a double turn in, Tychus will be back up, but it allowed for a little bit of extra push, a little bit further XP lead for 30k. Was it really worth it for those 35 gems? They ended up losing 15 of anyway. Nobody grabbed the camp. They both pinked it, but they both hurt.
That's not ideal. They could really have used timing this with their actual lane push here. Instead, they're going to have to time it with the hero's porting, which is still reasonable. They're still going to make it work out, but they could have got maybe a little bit of extra minion wave clear. As such, this Web Weaver is going to take a bit of damage that it might not have otherwise with the support of this camp. Cure just going to back away, very outnumbered. Teams down in bot lane, doesn't want to mess with that, as mid lane is absolutely doomed.
Not much to say about that. It was there, and then it wasn't. The team looking for the engage. They're not going to quite find it. Just heading on back to continue this mid push. Best thing about having that mid lane is just the ability to kind of deny any sort of turn-in from the opponent without them feeling safe. When you have that middle fort, you always know there's someplace safe to retreat, but not only does it open up a significant chunk of the map, it also means you have to cover every single base, not just, the aggressive opponent side to turn in.
100% correct. You've got to get that positioning. Lane line of Vasadas. That's a cool animation. Stops mid-gorge. That is Garrosh inside Masquerade, but they're pushing onto it. Great route with the ice flows, trying to lock them down, and they apparently do have easily enough damage to take out Stitches. Blowing up Blaze as well. Medivh stacked. 30k are getting some heavy momentum here. Legacy can't actually teleport out of this until we see Hosty pop out of that lane line, and he's just going to try to zone himself on the outside. Blink heal, doesn't actually blink heal to Hosty, blink heals to a minion! Hosty goes down!
Oh my goodness. What a play. 30k came ready to win. And now we're actually going to see a pause. Kira has paused the game. Probably just some minor technical issue. It's been pretty much the simplicity curse this time around. I feel like every single game has had just some kind of pause.
Very true, but they hopefully will be back in. Looks like there's just a little bit of lag. We'll be back into that game as soon as possible. So far, though, what a fun series. Simplicity in control for the early part of this, but 30k, the second they get that numbing blast and those icy veins on Jaina, suddenly, it's all on. Everything is suddenly available to them, and they're able to get back into this. However, it's a Stitches comp. There's always the chance that Simplicity pull exactly what we've seen in the previous series, get to the late game, and assuming they don't lose too many structures in this turn-in, maybe boss turn-in, depending on what 30k are able to do, Simplicity can still absolutely come back into this. They've got a lane they can push in, top or mid. They can absolutely still win this. 30k have momentum.
They're looking really solid right now, but as you mentioned, it just takes one. We constantly talk about how this is a map where you can kind of turtle and play it safe, just look to clear, find a huge team fight win in your base, turn around and end the game. And, we're looking at the heroes that Simplicity have at their disposal. They can definitely clear web weavers pretty quickly. They can even clear boss fairly quickly there. So they're just able to constantly harass, find these waves, just clear them out, look for those kills. They should be rocking and rolling, be just fine. But if they can't find that, it's looking pretty good for 30k right now.
It's looking pretty good. They've got the momentum, they've got that push potential, and they are tanking their way through these fights very effectively. The stun chain, root chain is working very well. Garrosh has gone for that mortal combo, which combined with Jada's numbing blast is so insane just for keeping people standing in one spot. It's working out quite well, but like we said, Hook's at level 13. They've got the fishing hook. They aren't close to level 20. It's level 17 to about to be level 16, so we're not going to be seeing that Master Hooker for a while. But overall, Simplicity, back-to-back champs, are on the back foot.
It's going to be a little bit more difficult for them. I do like while we're waiting. You guys can't see it, but it's really sweet, especially after some, the spicy interactions we had. It seems to be that Cure is having a little bit of a problem with some lag. So they're trying to make that go away before heading back in. And players just, did I say good luck, have fun? Because if I didn't, I hope you do. And that's sweet. I like that. Because
yeah.
I honestly take it as a personal slight when I'm playing in a competitive game against people and they don't good luck, have fun. I'm like, wow, I didn't realize that you hated me.
It's habit ever since the StarCraft days. The first thing you do is type GLHF, and the last thing you do is type GG. That is the pattern. That is how it goes. But hey, here we are. They're being polite, they're being nice, these guys like each other. Now especially, he's just a wonderful person, one of the best players in Europe. It's currently 4:45 in the morning where he is, so he's staying up late looking for that DreamHack glory, and he's still coming in being like, hey, I'm tired. Like you guys are great.
I don't necessarily mind if somebody GG's at the end. I think you should say good luck, have fun. That's just how it should be. But as experience being a salty player, if you're getting kind of spanked, like, I ain't want a GG. That wasn't GG. That was bad. You know, it was BG. You should do it, though. But I don't fault people for not GGing, you know. Especially when you get those ones where it's like 17-0 and you're like, all right, yeah, like, glad it was GG for you.
Well, for starters, the loser are always GGs. If they don't GG, you don't GG back. Or GG, you know, never an offensive GG is the starter. And yeah, it's a phrase I steal from you all the time of, I said GG, but it was not GG. But it's polite, it's manners. We have 5 minutes left on the timer for the pause while we wait for Cure's ping to stabilize, and then we'll hopefully be back into the game with either a laggy Cure or a Cure. Hopefully a Cure, so that we can get the highest quality of game possible.
I love that, you know, the EU players are like, if it's under 200, like, just go. Like, I can play on 200 ping, so I think that's fair and reasonable. Just because you drafted an all-NA team, like, why do you get special treatment?
Absolutely, they're in a situation, exactly. The ping is obviously an issue for these EU players, and some of the other regions don't seem to consider that level of ping as acceptable as EU players do, who are still competing on this level of play with the American players with that ping difference, which is brilliant. It does make me sad, though, that they can't play some of their best heroes. For example, Ty in Europe is one of the best Tracer players in the world, but he can't play it as often on the American server because he's got the ping difference, and playing Tracer on ping is bad. It's a rough time, and you will have a very difficult time, but he can still bust it out every now and again. And then as the American players have just like, I have 25 ping, here's Tracer.
I mean, I feel like the way to go around that is we just don't play Tracer, right? Like,
well,
you
like
should just not. Like, it's a declaration of war. You pick up Tracer, and it's like, all right, like, you didn't good luck, have fun, and now you're playing Tracer. You know, that's when the gloves come off.
Masquerade has informed us that Kira is currently praying to the lag god. So hopefully the prayers will be heard and we'll be able to jump back into the game very quickly. We'll be underway with our game number 1. Remember, this is a best of 3, and also this is not the last series of the day. We have this best of 3 series for our grand final, but then we have a special show match with the winner of this series in a show match versus Storm Esports from CCL, another incredible team, the second place team from CCL as well. Fantastic team, really good. Winner of that gets some Zowie mice, and that is wonderful to see. We absolutely love that. And that does mean, though, that there's more games after this. For now, though, we still await the return of the cure. We await a cure for our lag woes.
Alrighty. Any minute now, we should be getting back in. I'm trying to see what they're I think that's French. I'm trying to... Okay. All right, 3, 2, 1. Okay. They're ready to go. Lots of French on channel, so I'm afraid. I don't speak French. I don't know what they're saying. I'm going to assume, you know, it's like, hey, you guys are super cool and attractive. Wow, thanks. You guys are also super cool and attractive. This is fun, right? So you head on back into the game.
As we are underway, level 16 is now here. As we said, for simplicity, they were just a tiny bit away. We have that Templar's Verdict. Ooh, very, very good dodge there. We got that armor reduction. We have the Will of the Forsaken, Critterize, armor-piercing rounds for the Tigers. Very cool to see not going with the grenade. He's got hyper mobility with that level 1 dash here. So being able to chase people down with that armor-piercing could be very heavy DPS. And Stitches bringing out the Pulverize, more armor reduction.
Alrighty, looking to really just try and blow somebody up before Medivh or Malfurion can get on top of them to try and save their lives. Heroes like Jaina are going to struggle into this Pulverize. She does have her Ice Block available, so of course it can use that to try and wait for Medivh or Malfurion, whoever they need to get him out. And it's just going to be really difficult, though. You know, you have to kind of find the perfect hook if you're going to try and take down a very defensive comp like the one that 30K is playing.
See if they're able to do it. Like you say, the defensive comp is going to be hard to deal with, especially with that bunker, which hasn't really even been used this game. Simplicity haven't been able to put that much pressure on them yet. Oh, hook! lands. They've been able to gorge the Garrosh once again. Can they finish the kill? Medivh flying in to drop the portal, and Hasu gets Porky out.
Seems to be a constant thing here. Wouldn't be surprised if maybe we end up seeing that Master Hooker at level 20. I know it is probably one of the lesser picked talents, but getting that extra cooldown reduction would really help, as it will make the hook shorter than the portal. So easier to try and find somebody and pick them off. Easier to try and get back in this game. Commandeer Odin has been popped. They're going to just push down that middle lane. Oh, they find the hook onto Malfurion. Into the fray. Those saves the day. And now members of 30K are just on the retreat as the Leyline Seal does come out. Lots of damage onto Yrel there. Cure has to get away. Pops the Ardent Defender. The rest of the team looking for him. And now there is no escape.
Ooh. Good shot with the heavy impact as well from the collision course, from the Blaze. Able to pick up that kill. Cure locked down the hook, just short of landing for the counter kill. And 30K, they continue to hold the lead here. They start grabbing boss. They are plenty of gems away from a turn-in, but they can still get stuff on the board and keep their pressure on. It's looking good for them right now. The map is very red, and it's likely going to continue to be so for a while unless we start seeing these hooks landing and the damage coming through fast enough to stop those portals getting them away.
To see if they can't make something happen here for the moment. Right now, everybody, of course, just looking to try and push in that bottom lane. Trying to find Lutano there. Hook comes out, a swing and a miss. And it's really rough for Simplicity currently. There's just no two ways about it. They're going to have to defend that boss. We can see the members of 30K going to, not actually, I thought they were looking for that middle core, but they're actually going to look to try and come in behind the members of Simplicity. There's the taunt. The Water Elemental is good. Cure thrown back into the team is absolutely destroyed. And Water Elemental gets the hook. However, that doesn't mean much, really. Save he's back. Keep will go down. We could be looking at the beginning of the end, Tetcher.
Bosses at half health. They're still pushing in, looking for their opportunity. Hook is still available. It's just coming off cooldown now. Masquerade looks for it. Finds Malfurion. There's the Gorge. Chasing back. Great shot with that Warbringer. Boss about to die as the shield goes down. Malf getting shot by the form of the ley line. Shut down everything. And that is gonna be game number one. They can't get into position. The damage is too high. That is gonna be 30K taking the lead in this best of three.
Oh my goodness, what a game. I already said it, but I'll say it again. I think I've been saying it all day. 30K, I mean, I guess depending on how you want to look at it, they came to play, you know? They were here, they haven't dropped a map yet. They picked an awesome comp, suspecting what Simplicity would do, and they just absolutely ran it down.
They ran it down. They got exactly what they're looking for. The Jaina, unexpected, 51,000 hero damage. Absolutely topping the damage chart. Even was able to beat out Sylvanas, Yrel, and everyone else, quite frankly, in that PvE damage as well. Getting that wave clear. It's a mage versus a Stitches, and it worked. Positioning from 30K, showing once again, similar to last series, that if you stand in the right place, you can probably have a pretty good time against Stitches.
Yeah, I mean, I have a feeling, you know, they kind of had an idea what was going on, intentionally left that Stitches open, and Medivh, I guess, isn't a first pick, first ban hero anymore, but still very, very good.
Still
Came out in the end, surprised a lot of folks. Yeah, you know, Medivh, he's kind of all right.
Yeah, he's been super underrated for the entire history of HOTS. Even at HGC, people were looking at him and being like, Medivh. But buff Medivh, please, Blizzard. Everyone wanted that. But no, he's still decent. He still works. Obviously, he's not as good as he was on land because ping differences, but it's still Medivh. Portal, Force of Will. It's perfect into Stitches. Him and Anduin are just insane choices.
Absolutely. Able to just save the day versus that Stitches. And, you know, it felt really bad for Simplicity because there were some absolutely insane hooks. There were some great gorges, and you were like, oh, excuse me, that is my puppy hearing the dinner bell. So if you heard that crash, I apologize. Anytime they tried to do anything, so many cooldowns were being blown, and it just felt bad to see, you know, there's the Protect, there's the Portal, and all of that just meant nothing.
Exactly. They just couldn't gain the momentum, couldn't gain anything. It's exactly what, quite frankly, it's exactly what Simplicity did to Granite in the previous series. It's fantastic to see. That's how it is sometimes. And we will have to see if Stitches continues to show up, as both these teams seem to have the methodology for dealing with it a bit more figured out, or whether they double down and just commit to stuff that's going to make it a bit harder for Medivh to actually follow up, because in this case, they're not finding their way around it.
Yeah. I'm curious. I'm gonna go take a look at our bans and whatnot again, because honestly, the only map where you don't really think, oh, Medivh can get value here is probably Battlefield of Eternity, and still, that's kind of a 50-50. Depends on how the teams are working together, whatnot, what else they can contribute to the Immortal. We actually do have our pick here, though, as the members of Simplicity went with first pick, and 30K went ahead and grabbed Infernal Shrines, which is another great Medivh map, coincidentally.
It's a great Medivh map. It's also a great Jaina map. It's not as good of a Stitches map. Obviously, it's still good. If any map is a Stitches map, if you aim well, if you can find your positioning, you can hook. But obviously, the objective, it's a little bit harder to gain value with Stitches because there's a lot of stuff in the way. So being able to work around that is a little bit more difficult. But Medivh, like you mentioned, Medivh Diablo, a classic combo that we have seen a lot of times, is still going to get decent value here. We know Hasu loves that Medivh from time to time. The Jaina is great on the objective, siege it down with huge AoE. We could see most of those heroes popping in once again. If Zach was allowed to play, she would probably get some insane value here, but she's going to be banned again because everyone hates the Zagara right now.
I mean, even before she was buffed, nobody wanted to deal with it. You didn't necessarily ban it. It felt just kind of like, a proper agreement. Like, I'm not going to pick it. You're not going to pick it. This isn't bronze. Because it's just such a pain in the butt to deal with. And now the fact that she can do all of it, but better, it's just a nuisance. It's something you have to address. And the best way to do it is just say, you know what? No, nobody gets Zagara.
Exactly, as well as Junkrat, which we did see played in the first series, but haven't seen him since. So he's filling in that similar role. So it's cool to see. Alrighty, for starters, I love the emote usage in chat right now, the combo being dropped. But we're just waiting for everyone to ready up, and we will be able to jump into game number 2 with 30K taking a lead. Looks like our draft is going to begin. Infernal Shrines is the map. 30K can win. They will be your first DreamHack Beyond Heroes Community Clash champions. If Simplicity can win, then they've evened up the score, and we'll be heading to that map number 3, and we will have that final map point exactly like we did in CCL.
Oh, it's going to be a good one. The big thing here, I think, was an immense amount of stress, is it is currently on Simplicity right now to make the change, to be the difference, because they have to do something. That last team comp was 100% fine to run on this draft, or run on this map. So how are they gonna deal with that?
It's also there is an excellent idea. They've got to deal with that kind of draft again, and also they have to deal with the stress, and the heavy is the head that wears the crown. They are double CCL champions. They should not lose. That's going to be going through their heads here, where they're like, okay, we don't want to just win one of the biggest leagues in Heroes and then lose in one of the biggest tournaments in Heroes. They have to deal with that. They have so much going through their heads right now. How do we deal with this draft? How do we deal with this while also thinking we need to win? There's no more second chances.
Yeah, if they lose here, that'll be that. They're not going to get any money, not going to get any mice. They're just gonna go home and try and reflect on how they can do better. Of course, that's not to say, they're already down and out. They're still on a fantastic team. They've been back from worse, I believe. As once again, Tychus is going to come on through. We take a look at this draft here. Vala, Falstad, Junkrat, and Zagara all taken off.
Rest in peace, assassins who do lots of AoE damage. I like the Falstad, actually. He's actually still not been picked up too often. He's been played in quite a few of the series, but not on the high priority level as all of these others. But it's cool to see him. He synergizes well with Stitch's compositions. He's great on the map because there's so many corners in the jungle areas that you can just get gusted into late game. So it's a safe ban. We're going to see Malfurion and Leoric picked up. They ignore the Stitches for now.
And again, I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see it all. Not the best map. It's the same reason you don't pick Li Ming on this, as you were mentioning earlier. It feels bad to be like, don't worry, guys, I got this. And then you hook a minion and you're like, well, you know, we got one on the board there, fam. Leoric Malfurion coming through again. Brightwing and Zeratul being picked up for the side of Simplicity. And Tetcher, this is screaming, we kill you to me.
Yep, Malfurion is a very healy boy, but his healies are made out of paper mache wheels, so he will need help to deal with that Zeratul, and we saw that last series. They gotta have someone in here to protect it. Last time they tried the Varian and the Imperius to try and just create enough CC that Zeratul couldn't do anything, and yet Malfurion kept dying, and they also had Rexar to try and help out with that too. This time they have Leoric, which is even less CC. This is problematic. Very smart battle on the Diablo. Diablo could cause huge problems if they can dive onto that Malfurion backline, so I love that. But yeah, Zeratul, it's scary. We know how good Kira is on it, but this draft is already not ideal to deal with it.
Once again, Medivh's still available. We'll see if it's banned away here, because you know what's pretty good against Zeratul? You take no damage button. It's going to be the Varian, though, this time, of course, to disable really any kind of point-and-click CC. Interestingly enough here, you know, we could potentially see a hyper carry, maybe a Cassia or a Sylvanas, not as strong as a Vala, but we could see an Uther come out to help prevent damage with this Zeratul.
That could be a good idea. There's still a couple options for hyper carries as well with that Sylvanas, like you say. So that could be smart. Cassia, nerfed recently, but still not bad. They could easily still fit an Uther in here and be okay. Cassia's already a smart idea because your assassin needs to be able to deal with the fact that Zeratul may blink onto them 12,000 times and try to kill them. Cassia has armor, will actually help with that a fair amount, and has the option for a protected, which we don't see too often, but is quite good into Zeratul. Just turn on him, drop protected, and you absorb all the damage.
Absolutely. Usually folks go for that extra little bit of movement speed. Oh, Abathur coming in. If you thought Zeratul is toxic, wait until you see Abathur Zeratul. Now, we're going to look like, at least to me, Uther is going to be less and less of a priority here. I don't think we'll see him just because you typically don't combine him with Johanna. That's a lot of protection. It does mean that their wave clear and their damage will be significantly hindered. So maybe a mage here. We'll see if they have anything else in mind. Oh, interesting. I could not have been more far off as Sergeant Hammer comes to play.
All right.
Into a dive comp. That's interesting.
Into a dive comp. But Hammer is one of the baitiest heroes in the game because, yes, the strategy is to dive her. And she has like 3 talents that are anti-dive. So if Hasu's team protects them, they might be able to work with this. If Malfurion stands next to Hammer, they can just try and knock people away from Malfurion. There's logic to this. But it's super risky. They are very much relying on the fact that Hasu is going to be baked and live. That is basically the entire strategy here. It does have a mean that their lane push is ridiculous because they have Leo wave clear and Hammer building push.
Yeah, you know, this is going to be an interesting one. I'm wondering if maybe 30K's solution to what they're being presented with is just never show up to the Immortal and just push down all the lanes, because that's still a viable strategy. You know, they have good defense here. The biggest thing that concerns me, again, is that Zeratul, just because even if you do push him away, even if you have Unstoppable on that Hammer, Malfurion doesn't have that same luxury. You knock him away once, and then he just, you know, vorpals back onto you, and Hasu's sitting there going kind of, you know, damn, that sucks, bro. Unlucky for you.
Well, we'll have to see how they manage it as we are into the game. Let's get this going. Looking to try and create the reverse sweep. It is Simplicity on the left-hand side in the blue. Huron Zeratul, Utano on Tychus, Masquerade on a Nubarak. We have currently hiding behind their team Legacy on Brightwing, and Hosty is bringing out the slug. It's Abathur.
And looking to solidify their place as the champions of DreamHack Beyond. We've got Hasuabs on that, Sergeant Hammer. Liam will be your Leoric. Yasu will be your Malfurion. Dino on the Cassia. And Porky will be your Johanna.
Hammer starting off with the advanced artillery. Doesn't need the stealth. He knows that Zeratul has AoE, and so does Tychus. They can just reveal him anyway. The burst damage is okay, but Hammer is not going to be repositioning. His entire strat is to sit still and live. So in this case, Hasu, he's just going for that advanced artillery, which will help him clear the objective. We're also seeing, no surprise, the Emerald Dream. Johanna, though, the Zealous Glare, getting that extra blind charge.
I'm going to just continue to keep battling it out here. I like the Zealous Glare. It will help against that. Tychus, not sure how crazy I am about it into the Zeratul. The extra healing could really take some of that pressure off of Yasu to focus more on Sergeant Hammer and any of the more immobile heroes, but it makes sense if nothing else. Leo gonna end up going down to first blood here. One of the hardest heroes to gank end up falling.
Very nicely done. Good start here. Zeratul already up to 3 globes. Abathur is going full symbiote build with that pressurized glands, and we have some beetles coming in from Nubrak. Very interesting considering that Hammer's AoE can actually just clean those up.
May help to deal with Cassia. She has gone for the Thunderstroke, so looking to try and separate that out from hitting any of their allies since Lightning does split, as you see there. Otherwise, yeah, I'm not 100 about it. Maybe to help with the shrine, I'm not sure. We'll have to see what they have in mind here.
Hammer gets away, survives with the help of Malfurion, and a little bit of help from Johanna making their way in there. Camp started on the side of 30k. Simplicity yet to begin theirs yet. They do have a little peek at Porky, but they don't find any engage on it. There is the no surprise siege tactics as they go in for Porky, catching Hammer on the way. The damage output with this Tychus is insane, but Iron Skin is very good.
Once again, going for that Master Assassin, looking to try and kill him. Oh, they get the interrupt on a Porky's teleport. Was a little bit too close to that front wall. They were able to see him and stop him. That will stall their rotations just a little bit. Only a couple of camps been taken, both of them by the side of 30k here. You can see up in the top, Cassia is getting started on her own camp. We'll see if there is going to be any more camp take by Simplicity, if they're just going to look to end the lives of heroes. And it looks like they are.
They're looking to end those lives as best as they can, and they have a lot of damage to do it with that Zeratul Tychus. The dream shot from that right wing is going to be very annoying as well if they can get to Hush late game. We'll have to see. For now, Lutano stepping up alone. Abathur coming in to assist. Lutano in the route. This is not ideal. Getting very zoned out, but Cure, enough of a distraction, pressuring Yasu to prevent the chase.
They continue to step in here. They're able to clear out those minions. Looking to step up even more. Sleep coming out onto Nurak. The big stun from Porky. Masquerade running for his life. Has that extra little bit of shield. Once again, gone for that bed of barbs. So, continuing to just slow folks, have them persist. Now look like they're just going to try and find value elsewhere on the map, as this should be a wholly 30k's objective.
Guy now stays alive through the burst of Cure, but is harassed, has to grab the fountain. Did go for that plate of the whale at level 4, not going for that quick burst healing. Instead, just going to be running around hoping that he will only take damage intermittently from the pokes, which does make a lot of sense. The 4-man push in mid lane does delete one of the towers. They get a little bit of damage onto Masquerade on the way out. Punisher, though, siege tactics, and Hover Siege Hammer is about to cause some damage.
Hate to see it with this Frozen Punisher. The extra damage is just so very strong. Hammer has actually been super safe. In fact, most of the backline is really hard to step onto.
Porky tanking as best he can, drops the Iron Skin to make sure that he's not taking too much aggro so that he can back out. Isn't counter-engaged on as the first fort of the game goes over to the members of 30k. Liam is just trying to counter-soak versus Cure. Zeratul, no joke when it comes to wave clear, and he's just trying to split soak, but Leo can keep up.
Continuing to keep the pressure on, going for that aggressive camp. Masquerade is available, but the team is so very split. And this is really how you do well into an Abathur comp. You just chunk away, open up the map, make it harder and harder for him to step out and try and, put down mines, try and get soak. Not being able to body soak can be really devastating. So right now, until level 10, we are going to see Simplicity struggle.
Right now, they're just trying to zone away 30k as Hasu is pressuring in, gets that quick heal from Malfurion, and nice moonfires from Yasu, really topping up Hasu and keeping him safe here. Zeratul currently just split soaking, so is Abatha, using their body to soak up in top lane because they have full vision. All of their opponents. Good poke from Dai now. No hard commitments yet. It's going to be a slow and steady game. Cure moving in. Where's the blind? The root is going to be cleansed beautifully by Legacy, preventing the sleep. And that was some pretty good damage from Cure. Raiding back. There's a blind. He's just going to blink away. Remember, that blind does prevent his CDR from his level 1, but he is just going to be caught in the root once again. Yasu from inside the cocoon with the turnaround. The entomb, though. Masquerade Burrow charges out.
Oh man, you can't blink away from that. Gonna be Cure going down to the BFG. Not what we typically see from Hammer. If you don't see Hammer much at all, but we'll usually see that napalm strike coming out as the BFG no longer does damage to buildings. So, really nice to pick up those snipes. You know, that's definitely one way to deal with a super mobile assassin. They're going to get this middle fort as compensation now. The rest of the team has been able to soak up, wasn't able to connect with that Entomb earlier. Cure coming back in, has respawned, is looking for Johanna. Not gonna find them. Oh, finds them now.
Yasu.
All the rest of the team just trying to dash away.
Damage output is good. Malfurion's doing their best, trying to keep up here. That BFG is incredibly scary as a burst tool. We do see it every now and again. And they farm great for race, but they have so much already. Asu is poking away. Good damage. Nice knockback. May have just saved Yasu's life there as the cocoon is dropped. This is bad news for Dying Out on that Cassius. Stun is dropped. BFG for zoning in this case. Just do some damage to try and make him retreat. Liam Entomb doesn't land again. They're so close every time.
Really nicely done. Played very defensively, but a great job from Simplicity. Cure, as you can see, constantly just causing a disruption in that background, and it's only going to get more and more aggressive as we stack on up. I wouldn't be surprised if we actually did end up seeing the Shadow Mending coming out at level 20. It has been kind of, put to the side in exchange for some stronger talent. But being able to be in there for so long could really cause some damage, especially with that BFG coming out. Be able to stay in there for, just as long as you need to. Because already, Malfurion, the second Zeratul comes in, has to pop that Tranquility.
It's a potential idea here. Getting rid of those full resets in exchange for some sustain could allow them to stay in these fights. Cure forced to blink back and forth. It's a clone Zeratul as well, chasing down Hasu, who just resets, resieges, and begins the slow crawl back. The Cure, on the other hand, has found Liam on the backline. Is trying to dance away. Yasu does not find the route, but while Zeratul's gone, the rest of the team decides to play, but it's Liam who's popped. Cocoon on Johanna. Where's the follow-up going to come from now?
This is becoming harder and harder to stay afloat here on the back, as you saw, able to just continually jump away. Ball Lightning comes out, Brightwing with the teleport to heal him up so we can go back in. And oh my goodness, you'd think this was a last pick Zeratul, just the way that 30k are really struggling into it. They had a couple of ideas that were working in the early game, but right now it's just been a disaster for him as his Arcane Punisher does go over to the side of Simplicity.
So he takes the shots, he's taking a lot of poke here, and Yasu is 100% out of mana. They need to back up. They cannot afford to stay. Tier 2s will be where they make their defense. They go for the blow up on Cure, but the BFG, that wind-up, doesn't come out in time, and Zeratul is able to blink away.
It's just going to be at that bottom fort falling down mid next on the chopping block. This is working out so very well. Of course, with the Avatar comps, you always want to say, wait for level 10 when we can take an actual 5v5. And it is just going so perfectly for them. They can start to turn around, look more at those macro calls that they were sort of lacking in the early game. And it's just their game to lose right now. It's going to be quite a struggle for 30k to get back into this.
A long way to go, but they have the tools available. They have a lot of damage in this hammer and become very strong once they hit that late game. The potential for either the Orbital BFG to clear these lanes and give them a lot more late game soak, or the Ultra Capacitors for heavy attack speed. Malfurion, the option to get some armor later on, of course, buried alive. Their tool that they can need to finally detonate that Zeratul. But now they'll leave needs to live, as he's just going to blink away. Blind comes out in case Kyo decided to chase. And thank you for the raid from DreamHack Speedrun. Welcome, I hope you're enjoying DreamHack Beyond.
Everybody's just going to run away, get back to those camps. There's one available right now, and for the side of 30K, it's all about clearing safely, trying to find their way back into the fight with those 16s. We do hear the sound of Commandeer Odin coming down. The top lane under some trouble here once again, just bullying poor Liam here is the majority of their team's deaths, and that's really telling as we look here. 3 Leoric deaths. That's like the biggest squish or strongest member of the team, except for Johanna. If we can burst him like a balloon, that it is going to be quite difficult for Yasu and Hasu to stay alive.
Great Polly preventing the chase coming in from the Johanna. Tychus, very smart, went with the slows and grenades here. More ability power focus due to them knowing that there are so many blinds on this team. Very smart from Lutano. As level 16 is available, Simplicity, they're creeping forward slowly. They're not hyper-committing yet. We do finally have that Hush, though. That's going to cause a lot of problems.
Definitely going to make it harder to stay on that backline. Anytime you want to turn around, look for Brightwing when she wants to come in, look for an aggressive play. Can really shut down folks. So we'll have to see how the members of 30K are able to wrap around it, figure out the best way to go in. Always an interesting way to see how the players figure out what the other team is trying to do, work around it, that sort of stuff. The big thing here is you don't have the opportunity post level 16 to say, well, that didn't work. What can we do now? Because a team wipe now could mean game.
It really could if they're able to find those kills, and especially if the side of 30K can find that Zeratul, they could try and get a turnaround. It's so much down to who blows up who. Nice play by Simplicity. I love this. With 30K expecting the fight up top, Simplicity, they push bot lane using those beetles. They grab a big chunk of wall. An objective will spawn down here eventually, and they have a huge amount of defensive tools if they get engaged on. They have Mule that they've barely had to use this game. This is a good opportunity for them. Nice use of the mines by Hammer to gain vision. You can see that little shimmer of Zeratul with that.
Going to continue to push away. Kira looking for all the squishies, so they've left Johanna to defend, the one person who can help save from that Zeratul. And the Zeratul clone, right now it's just Porky defending against everybody, and there it is. Malfurion was bursted down, so this is going to be even harder to grab this. I'd like to see them leave Leoric here, maybe even look to give it up, because currently the keep is being traded out for the objective. So it's going to be quite rough. If a couple more picks come through, then we could even see, you know, Simplicity win the game here.
Instead, 30K committed to keep Dino up here in case Brightwing TP'd up, which she did, causing a lot of damage. Dino needs help mounting up. He does, of course, have that plate of the whale. We'll get some health up that way. Bottom keep does die. 30K, they choose their sacrifices. They know this was a lose-lose situation, so they commit to top lane. They're going to win at least something out of this instead of splitting their attention.
And continue to try and play it slow. They've got 39 on the point. The rest of the team just rotating around. Simplicity understanding that they have such a lead on the map that 30K aren't really going to have the opportunity to push with this as much as they would like to. There are catapults in the top lane. There are 2 camps in the middle lane. They're going to have to go back and defend, which is basically a free clear for Simplicity.
Well, staggering coming in from Liam. Looks like they want to try and commit to an engage first. They're trying to see if Zeratul is backdooring, which he 100% can with this build. Easily has enough damage with that Master Warp Blade to try and burn through. There's the clone on Tychus for defense here. They're already halfway through this Punisher, causing a lot of grief here. Leo got a very nice Ominous Wraith to lower the damage output. Grenade is used on the Punisher, and it is pulled by Hosey. Entomb, not finding it again. The keep will go down, but that's a lot of damage on Liam.
I managed to get it. We're going to see the Blessed Shield come out. I think that they saw it here. There, he has to blink away. Once again, Vault Lightning coming through, and I'm really surprised. They continue to push here. They managed to even it out, grabbing the keep. Everything else clearing itself out. Camp still has to be dealt with. They're going to fight it all out right here, right now. Currently, the members are so low, but Cure actually falls, trading Cassia in their stead. A better trade for 30K. They've got to go, got to start dealing with those keeps. Not at all how I expected this to go, Tetcher. Really well played by 30K.
That kill on Zeratul was huge. They try to get onto Liam. If Liam dies, it's okay, but it's not okay if Porky dies. Pauline again, and down he goes. Simplicity, they rush straight to the bottom lane. They're going to try and finish this out and even up the score. Odin, with 5 Master Assassin stacks, doesn't do too much. They still have that 10% extra attack speed. Hasu is dropping everything he can. Leo is a couple seconds out as long as he keeps draining. The catapults cleared by Hasu. Can they hold this? Good hush there. Leo's not going to be back in time. The damage isn't enough, and we are going to a game number 3.
Very well done. Same as game number 1. This was all about simplicity. They had a comp, they put it in, and it worked out beautifully for them. I don't feel like 30K was able to really do much with the heroes they drafted. They clearly had a plan, but it just wasn't able to come to fruition this time round.
Good job that the hammer didn't die, so that part of the plan went fantastically, but they didn't have the tools they needed to kill Zeratul as much as they do, even though Zeratul was actually all the deaths in that game for the side of Simplicity. But the fact they only killed him twice and weren't really able to do much with it, and it was most of the time in trades, isn't ideal. That they weren't able to get on anyone else, they weren't able to finish the kills on anyone else. Maybe if they'd lived to level 20 and they'd been able to land one of those in tombs, they could have maybe turned that game around, but the game ended at level 18 for 30k. Good job by Simplicity, well played. Interesting plan by 30k, not coming to full fruition.
I think the big thing right here that we really need to touch on is we all kind of laugh, oh yeah, the hammer didn't go down, blah, blah. We have 4 Leoric deaths, though, and so when you think about it, you know, you have the idea that, okay, they want to get onto our squishy backline with this Zeratul, so let's draft around protecting that. So instead, the members of Simplicity decided they were going to start targeting the offlane. I think that was so brilliant because with everything they picked, Leoric couldn't hold a candle to what they offered. And then as soon as he goes down, there's nobody to soak that lane. Somebody had to come down or they just let it go. And we're constantly behind on XP. You know, you kill a Malfurion, you kill Cassia, or even if they were able to grab Sergeant Hammer, that's part of the 4-man. Someone else is going to be there to grab that soak. But when you kill the Leoric, somebody has to rotate down, which is a loss of soak, or nobody rotates down, which is even more of a loss. And from there, they were able to just play the XP game.
You're 100% right. The ability to try and pick people with that Zeratul just makes your day. Speaking as an offlaner myself and also an ex-Zeratul main, Zeratul makes your day miserable with that build. Cleave Zeratul is rough and it can change a game in terms of team fights, but auto-attack reset Zeratul with Mighty Nerazim is a macro changer because you put so much pressure on the offlane and Zeratul can basically 1v1 pretty much anyone with enough time and keeping them alone. Because he could 100 to 0 basically any squishy, and Leoric has no counter to that. All he can do is try and run away or drain and hope to live. And if you're, like you said, that forces someone else to rotate. What do you think's going to happen there? Zeratul shows up top lane to try and help to make numbers advantage for his team, or he kills that person too. It's such a game changer.
Really, really well done. Just it's great to see how these players work and, you know, kind of the chess game that is not only the draft, but also just how they play the game. This is the obvious answer, yes, but if we do this instead, you know, they're going to be playing from the back foot. That's exactly what happened. All ready and ready, rocking and rolling, ready to go for our next game here. It's going to be Sky Temple, which is picked up by Simplicity because they hate fun. No, I'm just kidding.
This is game number 3. This is the final match in this series. Sky Temple's where it comes down to. They might not hate fun, but they certainly hate team fights, because this is another very macro-heavy map, where we will see team fights obviously over objectives and please a boss, but we will likely potentially see Abathurs, Leos, maybe that Zeratul coming in once again. Simplicity are one of the best macro teams in the world right now, and this is kind of their home. Can 30k do something to force Simplicity into their playstyle?
All right, the biggest question right here. You're 30k. You have first pick. Do you ban the Zeratul?
Yes. What? Yes. You don't want 30k. You don't want that Zeratul to come in. You know they have a lot of other wave clear heroes, but honestly, if you could force, if Simplicity bans out Zagara, that's the biggest tool. Junkrat's quite high up there as well. If all those tools are gone, I think you're okay to maybe leave them Valor if you pick a more dive-heavy comp. Maybe ban the Valor as well. That's all 4 bans, but Zeratul is very high priority. It's less good for the wave clear, but we've seen that Kira has no issue picking it up early and just letting his team pick wave clear later. So, and either way, I said it's less good. It's still decent. You can still basically one-shot waves of cleave.
Absolutely. We'll have to see as we're looking to get in here in just a moment. When we're saying ours, I was hoping that like we'd go in now, but you know, that's all right. Always how it be. So looking at this, you know, I'm kind of curious what the teams are going to do because there are a couple of different ways you can play Sky Temple. Are they going to play for these objectives? Or are they going to play to try and get something done while the objectives are happening and then sort of, you know, trading the objective when you can have a 4 or a 3-man fight isn't so bad. If you can push them off for a little while or maybe stall it, you could send somebody up like a Greymane. If there was ever, you know, an inkling of a chance she might get through, Zagara, send them off somewhere, let them get value elsewhere. The way that Sky Temple works, very similar to Infernal Shrines that way. Of course, the big thing is you have to be able to contest that point at least a little bit to get the same value.
Exactly, so we'll have to see what level of priority put onto this. I'm personally more of a fan of the macro style that you described there, of having those global heroes, because this map is wide! So being able to get from one side of it to the other is such a big deal. That's my personal favourite, but there's so many options for this. And also, this is one of the maps that holds the... It's not the record, because the record is currently held by Warhead Junction, old Warhead Junction, but this is one of the maps that is close to the records for the fastest professional heroes game, due to the strategy of grab bot camps, grab bot temple, run at core, win.
I mean, I'm just saying, you know, Lieutenant Morales did get buffed, so...
We'll have to see. The possibility is there as we are heading in to game number 3, the final game of the Grand Finals, but don't go anywhere after this because the winning team has a show match versus Storm Esports. So there is, no matter what, one more map coming. So make sure to stay tuned for that. Should be a fun series.
Me on Towers of Doom, which is always super exciting and fun. But let's talk about Sky Temple right now. Zeratul and Tracer are going to be banned out. Take us to Sky Temple, we're going to take away all your fun toys.
Yep, get rid of them. It does mean that Valor is let through, though, where we did see Valor's big surge of popularity originally did come on this map from E-Star during the mid-season brawl of 2017. So there's a good chance we could see it pop up here. Brightwing's not a terrible pickup with, say, an Uther as a combo here, but if not, we've seen that Simplicity have no issue picking main tank Uther and then a Valor combo.
And we can see it with the Malfurion. It works just as well. You have to be kind of rotating around. You sometimes need to leave folks in lane to get camps. But it doesn't appear to be the case this time around, as we are going to see Falstad come out. And then Lutano going to grab that Hogger.
Seeing that once again patented simplicity flexibility there with Lutano, usually the assassin, being dropped onto that Hogger. He is the Hogger player for the team. Kyo could still absolutely play something that is an assassin or play a second frontliner with the old style triple bruiser comp that we had a little bit last year. And the immediate reaction, something that bumps multiple frontlines, the Blaze, and something that melts single frontlines, the Tychus. Really making Simplicity think and focus on how they're going to play and which one they want to commit to.
Really solid pickups there. Blaze can also take a tempo by themselves, so someone they can leave who is relatively safe. He has the bunker, so if he is ganked on, he can just kind of drop the bunker, wait for the team to come back, and then look to re-engage there. They could go for something super spicy, which we haven't seen yet, but, you know, maybe look to drop that combustion based on how divey the members of Simplicity want to be. I don't have high hopes, but I have high hopes.
We could absolutely be hoping. We could absolutely hope. There is a chance. We always have hope. We'll see what they come up with here as Nubarak is banned away. Would be a great setup with Hogger. The hard engage they could have with Hordapult, and of course that Burrow Charge is very strong. Falstad Gust for disengage if they go too far. Falstad is fantastic with dive comps for that reason, because if you mess up, goodbye, we're leaving now. It's brilliant. But let's see where they go with that Nubarak taken out, and Diablo. They go for Muradin, still potentially a dive hero, but one who's a little bit beefier and has that no button to Tychus' percentage damage. You can bait it out, drop that avatar, stay alive.
Also look for something like the Haymaker. We have a couple of immobile heroes here, so if you want to send them to the back lane, this is definitely a back line that can just pounce on anybody out of position. So definitely a couple of different options they could play it here. We could even look for a super spicy play, you know, maybe like a Sledgehammer Muradin, and then just go hyper all in on the push. We're going to see Garrosh and Cassia come through to finalize the draft of 30k. Leaves the support left. What are the members of Simplicity thinking?
Sylvanas, Falstad, Muradin. I think they have to play something a little bit more independent. I don't think Malfurion's going to fit in here. I think they're going to go. I was thinking Lucio, but Uther works. It's a bit more frontline than I expected. It's very committed to just a brawling teamfight style. But they're against a Garrosh. That's not the worst thing. If they can just stay in these fights for long periods of time, Brightwing healing is a little bit worse when it comes to longer extended fights. It's more effective as a burst healer. Even with Blink Heal, it's still a little bit more bursty with some spell armor for some help, which is why everyone else in this team has their own version of self-sustain to try and stay alive through that. So if Simplicity can draw out these fights and choose the angles well for Hogger, they might be able to get control of these.
Absolutely. We'll have to see as we hop on in for game number 3, our final match of the evening for the championship. After this, whoever wins will have a show match against the members of Storm Esports. As we've been saying, we're going to win some mice. It'll be super exciting, so I hope you guys will all stick around for that. For now, though, who's your favorite draft, Tetcher? Who do you think is going to come out on top? Just looking at these heroes right now.
I really like Uther, and I try my best to never underestimate Uther in most games. And I love Sylvanas and Hogger. However, I always lean on the idea of a composition that is the lower burden of execution might be the better comp. So because I find these comps so close and both have their advantages, I'm going to go for the easier comp to have a win condition and to execute, which in this case is going to be 30Ks.
Makes sense. We'll have to see if you are correct. So we hop on in here. For the last time, we will see the members of Simplicity with Legacy on that Uther. Cure will be your Sylvanas. Masquerade on the Muradin. Lutano is your Hogger, and Hosty will be that Falstad.
And on the right-hand side, in the red trunks, looking to avenge themselves for CCL, it is 30k with Porky on that Garrosh. We have Hasu on the Tychus. Yasu is playing the Brightwing. Liam is on the Blaze, and chilling in top lane, it will be Dynao playing the Cassia, already gaining a quick little clear advantage. Looking at somebody's level 1 talents. We have that percentage damage for Sylvanas, try and burn through those beefy front lines, and Journeyman cooking for Hogger. There's some big old hitboxes here, might as well gain some health.
Interesting to see the Journeyman cooking. Every single time we've seen Hogger, we've seen a lot of him, it has been going for that level 1 rage build. So not looking to try and stay alive with that, not getting that extra little bit of rage, looking to just try and stack on these big thick boys, which as you said, makes sense because they are all going to be coming at you constantly. Everybody, of course, focusing on these camps right now. They can kill each other later. It's all about that XP.
You mentioned the fact that he's going to be able to try and stack very quickly against these beefy boys, and he's doing that by the fact that the beefy boys are in the 4-man. Lutano is starting on this camp very quickly, but until then, he wasn't able to find any stacks from it, but Falstad took over the top lane with Hogger going into the 4-man to try and find some stacks, but 30k were able to give him the runaround and dodge away from the majority of that extra damage.
They're just playing so safe right now. Great stun. Does interrupt Garrosh, who has opted to go for that Warbreaker, not looking to drop the anti-heal as we typically see here. In fact, I think almost every single Garrosh game has been a Warbreaker game. That extra CDR just too good to pass up. So Porky in position now, potentially looking to grab one of these squishier members, but he has been seen.
Another very smart talent here. Good broke, just disengage. Porky not going to commit to an engage because it was Muradin. But talent that is actually worth pointing out here. The charge strikes Cassia, trying to go for a little bit of anti-tank build herself, with the ability to get percentage damage a bit more effectively later on, and the fact that we at Simplicity are almost certainly going to group up, where these auto attacks, if you can kite correctly, you might, and of course dodge those stuns from Muradin, you might have a better time than just poking away at damage that could be healed up.
Makes sense there. We're going to continue to brawl up in this top lane. Camps need to be cleared out. Tempos will be active in just under 20 seconds. Currently, Simplicity pushing in really strong, has the advantage on this wave. There's Garros, though, finds the throw onto Uther. Brewing has to come in and save their life. Not collecting to anybody just yet. Once again, with that Warbreaker, only 2 stacks on the stun. The rest of the team has jumped up, and oh my goodness, goodbye, Porky. Gets a little bit of a heal from his W, but in the end, it's just devoured.
All aboard the CC train with your conductor, Uther, as Cure barely escapes from Liam there. The crossfire, if both those shots had hit, Cure would be dead, but it was only one. Nice escape there, Falstad coming in to take over the lane, while that Sylvanas ports all the way back to base. Hogger has the perfect bounce angle, however, no resistance, so will die. Or not.
A really rough. Okay,
or not.
sure. Feels higher, man. Able to just walk away. Gets away quickly. Just gonna go ahead, tap up, and then continue to soak in the mid lane here. I really like what Simplicity is doing. They're not necessarily coming on top on these fights by having the only kill here. They're not really looking to finish anybody off. They're doing a great job of soaking all the lanes, constantly putting pressure there. And so even though we do see these heroes getting quite low on the blue side, there isn't quite the value that I think 30K is hoping for with it.
They haven't found it yet, and they're actually being zoned quite far here because that charge from the Blaze did not land, so they're forced to back up. Cassia mixing up the build. Yet another nerf came to Surge of Light, and it looks like finally, Die Now has given up. And we're seeing Seraph's Hymn coming in here, getting that mana and cooldown reduction, and also the damage bonus from against blinded heroes up by a little bit. We'll see how well that works out for them. See if they can turn that into high amounts of kills. Hogger continuing down the full easy throw Dynamite build. It has incredible zoning here, and it's up to 7 stacks.
And so the night fades.
Just gonna finish up grabbing these altars and then get back to that. So you can see they're pretty much dead even here. Hosty gonna get started on this bottom camp. Sky Temple's one of the ones where you want to fight a little bit less. It's a more slow macro style play, not necessarily looking for 5-on-5 team fights. Just picks. Gonna try and find Muradin here. Manage to get the combo off, get that extra little bit of stun to make sure everybody is nice and safe. For now, everybody just backing out while Sylvanas gonna continue to just keep pushing down in this bot lane.
Somethings! It's like Storm League as the Sylvanas begins to Hunger Push, but in this case, it's a sneaky Falstad looking for the turnaround. With that explosive out, with that unstable poison, they're able to clear the lane very quickly, and Liam will be zoned quite heavily. Just going to continuously send out those firebots to try and clear those lanes from a distance without taking too much damage from Falstad.
Trying to stem the bleeding here. Simplicity is just all over the map all the time, looking for any kind of chip damage they can get. If they're able to find a structural lead, then they don't even necessarily need to fight the members of 30K, which is what the team comp of 30K wants to do a bit more so than that of Simplicity. So they can just find that advantage, try and grab those temples, and then never look to engage on the red team. It's really slow, frustrating style of play, but it is a very, very effective one to end up winning maps like Sky Temple.
We see the mind control from Sylvanas, try and isolate, try and pick and lock down some of these front lines. Porky finds him, quick cleanse, but Cure de-shielded beautifully to dodge out of the way that Warlord's challenge. Very nice escape there. We're also seeing the shockwave from the Hogger. Makes sense, he's been in the 4-man a lot this game. It's really going for just a big team fight build. And right now, Falstad, even though he's been split pushing a lot this game, has the most hero damage on his team because he has 47 stacks on that Gathering Storm.
Turns out when you have a basically completely melee team, it's easy to stack that hammering there. Especially when the 2 tanks want to run and jump on top of you all the time. They're gonna look for Kier. Not gonna be able to find him just yet. Working a little bit of trouble. Blaze has to come off the point to try and help out. Masquerade will pop the Avatar. Great use of the shockwave. Ends up cleaning up Porky there. Hostage trying to get in the Blaze bunker. Will be able to do so. And now the member of Simplicity just biding their time. Masquerade is low. Stun coming out on the Cassia. Dino needs to get back in the bunker, but it's burst down. Brightwing comes in trying to save the day. Masquerade is low. Legacy is low. Tychus, though, gonna be the one to go down. Cure looking for more blood onto Yasu for the time being, though. Not finding anybody. May have spoken too soon. Dino is low. Separated from the team. Stuck in a corner. Yasu tries to save the day. but is not able to do so. As such, Cassia falls as well.
Very nicely done by the members of Simplicity. Two separate wraparounds and backline ganks. One from Hogger, one from Hosty on that Falstad during that team fight. Cure barely surviving enough to continue to help in that team fight by being able to sidestep the grenade of Hasuobs, preventing the kill from coming in. Porky, who just got back, is already eating a lot of CC from that Skullcracker Masquerade, as we see Hogger make their way onto the turret, getting the shots from the temple, putting mid lane very low, but as a big win for Simplicity.
Team's gonna get back to that soak, and that's constantly how it is. Find your small lead, get to the soak. Find another small victory, get back to the soak, constantly keeping them ahead of 30k here. If we look, level 13s are now online for Simplicity. They actually ended up bouncing off of that bottom just to go ahead and clear out that camp. Valkyrie will come, interrupts the Muradin jump, and now team is looking for him, not gonna find him just yet.
Seeing level 13s now finally available for 30k to even up here. They got a spray and pray. Tychus wants to stay far back. So does Cassia with gloves of alacrity. The collision course, no surprise there. Even though it was nerfed, it's still really fun for the Blaze. And defensive measures is huge for that Garrosh here. Going to give them so much sustain.
Everybody playing so safe. Looking for Sylvanas here now. Cure, great use of the D-shield. End up dropping the mind control onto Porky. There's the gust. There's the stun. Everybody just being chunked into oblivion. Tychus will go down, and it's just so hard to kill anybody on the side of Simplicity. They get low, but they don't die. Murden jumps in with that avatar. They're going to hit the stun from the Blaze here. Hogger looking for more. Great big stun by Porky. That extra shield giving him bonus health, bonus sustainability there. Yasu is low, pops like a balloon. And the middle fort goes down as well. Great use of the black arrows to stem the bleeding. Simplicity really doing solid in these team fights.
Lutano pulled off some of the most incredible bounces in that fight. Really just had full control over where his opponents were to get maximum damage, and also to push in and then escape without having to risk himself or his team. And also, these Dynamites are doing really well damage-wise, up to 31 stacks, and Brightwing died trying to protect their team from the bomb, and instead Blink healed onto a bomb right as it detonated. It was just unlucky what side he appeared on, but it's doing a lot. It's actually burning down and adding so much to the poke damage that Simplicity has.
They're really, really making this comp shine here. Boss, of course, picked up. They're going to have to be defended. We are trading out altars right now. However, it is in the favor of Simplicity. It is shooting at those keeps there. They're going to grab both of them as everybody needs to back up for safety. Level 16 is online. And this is tough. Simplicity are just chunking away at 30k. And 30k really need to try and find a couple of picks to get themselves back in this game.
They need something. They're a talent down. They are in trouble. They haven't got a single kill, and it's a Master Assassin Tychus. They are struggling a bit here. 30k need something. They need a break to get themselves back into it, but all of the breaks are just being taken away from them. They've lost that boss. They don't have that available. We're going to see Simplicity grabbing their bruiser. That's not available right now for 30k. They're just running out of tools. All they have right now is their team fight, and with 16 coming up, that might be their chance. Thank you for the raid, DreamHack Rocket League. I hope your games were very exciting.
Very appreciated. All the raids. This is our final game of the championship. We'll have a show match right after that, so please stick around, folks. It's going to be a lot of fun. Right now, 30k trying to find their way back into the game. They've been managing to take these bottom camps pretty consistently, so small victories for them there, able to at least keep the bottom lane from becoming too heavily pushed in, which is really solid considering that is where they lost their keep, so the constant catapult pressure will continue to add up. Here though, proxying the wave, making it quite difficult for them to try and defend.
Unstable Poison just wiping out these minions so fast, but he doesn't stay to finish it. He's smart. Knows that his opponents aren't visible on the minimap, so they could be coming to him. Masquerade getting bullied a little bit by Hasuobs here. How deep would Hasu go? not all the way. We just see Masquerade backing away, not getting themselves caught. Fantastic dynamites from Lutano. He's up to 36 stacks. Valkyrie coming in, hits no one.
Really hard. Great use of the Unstoppable there from Garros. They managed to find the mind control on a Dino, but no kill comes of it. Here, going to continue to look for those festering wounds. Manages to just blast away all of those minions with the unstable poison. The reason they've been able to just basically dominate these lanes here. Are going to see the Bush come through, looking for a play. Once again, the members of Simplicity just playing so safe, not going to give 30k any kind of inch.
See Simplicity with the Concave. They've got such good positioning here. Level 20, a full level away for Simplicity. 3 whole levels away for 30k. They're going to take the fight while Farston isn't here. A numbers advantage for 30k. Brightwing can teleport in at any time. For now, they're being patient, letting Brightwing wave clear.
Really spicy play there to just to fly over your enemy, knowing you're actively putting them in a 4v5 position. However, Brightwing didn't come down, so it was the 4v4, and of course, just the defensive capabilities of Simplicity are too strong. We did see D-Shield come out there, and this has been kind of the result of every single Warlord's challenge. Look for Sylvanas, D-Shielded, no value there. So really, really well played by Legacy, understanding when they need to go in, when they need to save the day, and just disabling a lot of hard engage from 30k.
I don't like how split 30k is. This is so risky. They're completely separated. They interrupt the pullback of Hosty, though. Catch him on the wall. Good stun to prevent the Warbreaker from coming in. They chase in. They need to get someone. They throw Hasu. It's all in on Hosty or death. As Brightwing needs to come in, but she teleported mid. It's a 1-for-1 trade. Nothing available. And they also lost Cassia in the 3v3. This is bad news for 30k. Liam will escape, but 20 is achieved by Simplicity.
Been really hard for Yasu this game, as Porky is in quite a rough position, drops that Unstoppable to make sure they're able to get out, but it really is only delaying the inevitable here, trying to buy time for their teammates to resurrect. That Dynamite will finish him off. You're going to see the members of Simplicity once again just looking to grab more and more pressure on the map, and it's just been so hard for Yasu, for Porky to know where they need to be. Where does the team need them? They're so split, and constantly Simplicity are picking these fights and just, okay, let's try and find something mid. Joke's on you, your team is dying bottom. All right, let's see if we can't salvage that. Now you've collapsed into a 4v5, a 3v4, whatever it is, just constantly ripping them around the map. It's really, really fascinating to watch if you're a Simplicity fan.
Simplicity taking more tools off the board. Like you say, it's so fascinating to see how much control they have. They always know where their opponents are. False are not even there for that, but they have so much confidence seeing their opponent's wave clear, knowing Garrett isn't here. They just have all the timing. Valkyrie attempted. Now they have to wait. Mind control. Landing is the upgraded Dark Lady's call, but a good cleanse by Yasu there, saving them for now.
I'm really interested by the Valkyrie pick just because there are so many saves that almost every single hero has. The only one who doesn't have some kind of dash or teleport is Uther, who has D-Shield, who also has Cleanse. So even if you were able to hit these Valkyries, you know, you just kind of end up maybe burning a barrel roll or a hog or a span. I feel like Ball Lightning may have been a little bit better of a choice, especially with how melee the members of Simplicity are.
It's turned into their saving grace here, but it might not have needed to if they'd had that extra damage. It's a fair point. There's a big stun with that collision course. Trying to take out Hosty, who barrel rolls away. The rest of the team is filing in slowly. Potentially their last chance to fight. The boss is dead. The temple is stepped on. And Simplicity, they have no reason to fight this. They are ahead. They can just macro and wait. Sylph's just going to delete a minion wave. They are in no rush. Simplicity have everything under control. They are more than happy to give up a part of this temple.
This is exactly what I was talking about. There's really no reason for them to fight the members of 30k ever. They can just play the long game. Losing heroes could mean losing the game. We're going to see a big chase come out here. The members of Simplicity are scattered everywhere. This may be 30k's chance back into the game. There's the Gust, though. And just like that, Legacy is out.
They don't find anything. They just burnt so much. Their die now is very deep, and Simplicity are beginning to regroup. Quick charge, though. They do get Uther, but it's Redemption. He will be back, and suddenly this is about to become a 4 versus 3. This is bad. Brightwing tried to TP, but it was interrupted by the death of Blaze, and Porky may be joining them shortly. Here comes the Hog Wild. No control. Cleaning up the fight as Hasu is trying to take out Lutano to get something on the board. GG is called. Great Valkyrie die now trying to pop off, but no Surge of Light means no burst. He cannot hold. Simplicity wipe 30k off the board and head to the core.
GGs have been called, and that is going to be game number 3. And your tournament champions, Simplicity, take the core, take the crown, and they have got it made. They will be our show match champions. They're going to get that big prize pool, and I'm sure they must just be so excited right now.
Simplicity, 2-time CCL champions, and now first-time DreamHack Beyond champions. Simplicity have secured their place in Heroes history. Also, Masquerade now has basically more wins than anyone else in 2021 and 2020 combined. Masquerade's insane! Absolutely bopping. He did so many good dives with that Muradin, but overall, I think a lot of that game has to be put onto Legacy, the cleanses, the divine shields. It let them play so aggressively.
Absolutely. There were so many times where it looked like it could have been quite devastating for Simplicity, but as you mentioned, just always perfect timing, which I really think has been one of Legacy's strongest abilities. Just this one thing that really makes them invaluable to the team. They just have so much knowledge about the game, so much knowledge about when to use the perfect ability. I mean, just if we go back to Season 1, when Legacy was picked up there, they actually ended up swapping a couple of members off their roster, grabbing Legacy, who was just a sub originally. It wasn't until he started playing consistently that 30k, or excuse me, not 30k, Simplicity really started winning. And now this is the 3rd championship they've won with him on their roster. So absolutely 100% agree. Legacy MVP.
Sometimes it takes a few changes. Sometimes the team does not start out perfect, whether that's roster changes or meta changes or starters or hero changes. Sometimes that's all you need, and Simplicity took a little bit of a meta change with how the meta changed, and a little bit of a roster change, and suddenly they are, quite frankly, right now, the best team in North America. We can say that for certain at this point.
Absolutely. So, man, I guess it's time for them to head on over to EU and see how they hold up there. Put them in on the land to see how they do.
Exactly. Give Masquerade a chance to play with no ping for once. Come on, guys. Good lord. Alrighty, well, ladies and gentlemen, those are your champions, but they aren't done yet because there is a show match coming up in just a little bit. Storm Esports, the 2nd place team from CCL, are going to play your champions' 1st place team of CCL, Simplicity. Will there be another team gets their chance at revenge against Simplicity? Will they find it? Or will we see Simplicity continue to assert dominance?
Oh my goodness. Everybody stick around. We're going to go ahead and get that all set up for you. Thanks so much, everybody who rated, everybody who has been cheering for their teams. We're going to see you in just a couple of moments on Towers of Doom.